Solving a literal equation is pretty much like you're looking at a formula and you want to rearrange it. So in this video, what we want to do is look at being able to solve one of these literal equations, right? So we'll start off with one. You probably are familiar with this formula. They don't all have to be formulas that you're familiar with, but we'll just start off with one that we perhaps know. So let's say we have that A equals 1/2 BH. So some of us might remember that as the area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. So we are used to it being solved for A, but let's say instead we want to solve for B. Right? So with a literal equation, what's going to happen is they're going to give us some formula or some equation, but they're going to tell us to solve for a different variable than what is already solved. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to isolate the variable that they are asking for the same way we would have solved a regular linear equation for the variable x. It's just a different variable this time. So if I look at the variable that they want me to isolate, so let's look at this b. So they want us to isolate or solve for the b. To do that, I'm going to need to get rid of this 1/2, and I'm going to need to get rid of this h. Okay? So let's look and see what is the 1/2 doing to the b. Well, the 1/2 is being multiplied by the h. So what I need to do is undo that multiplication of the 1/2. Okay, so to undo multiplying by a half, I would divide by a 1/2. So I'm going to take that a and I'm going to divide it by a 1/2. Oh, that looks weird, right? To divide by a fraction, that's kind of, I don't really like that. But if we remember, to divide by a fraction is to really flip and multiply. We call it multiplying by the reciprocal. So really what that means is it should be 2 times a equals bh. Okay. Now I'm going to still do the same thing. I still need to isolate this b, right? So I need to get this b all by itself. I still need to get rid of this h. So to get rid of the h, I say, okay, well, what is the h doing to that letter b? It's being multiplied. So to get rid of multiplying by h, I would divide by h. So I'd end up with 2a divided by h equals b. Now I see, okay, b is all by itself. It is now solved for b, so this is my answer. So a literal equation, I'm not going to have a single number answer. I'm going to take an equation, rearrange it until it looks like another equation. All right, so it's just kind of an odd topic, but it can be done. So let's try another one. All right, so let's say we have kx plus w equals y, and we're going to solve for k. Right, we're going to solve for k. So what that means is that I need to get this k all by itself. So I need to get rid of my x and my w. If we were solving a regular linear equation, I would get rid of that w first, right? Remember, if we're working backwards through PEMDAS, I need to first look at what is being added and subtracted to that k. So when I look at this equation, I need to get rid of that w. So to undo that adding w, I'm going to subtract w from both sides. So I'm going to have kx equals y minus w. All right, now I still need to get this k by itself. So to do that, I'm going to get rid of this x. So to get rid of that x, I say, okay, well, what's the x doing? It's being multiplied by k, so I would now need to divide by that x. I'm going to divide everything by that x. So I'm going to get k equals y will get divided by x, and so will w. I go back and I say, okay, I'm solving for k, and k is now by itself. So that would be my final answer. So the whole idea with a literal equation is I'm going to rearrange the formula until I get the variable that I want by itself. We're working backwards through PEMDAS. So I would work backwards, meaning I would do my addition, subtraction first, then my multiplying and dividing. So in this example that we just did, I got rid of the w first because it was being added. Then I got rid of the x because it was being multiplied. Okay, so let's look at one more. You've probably seen this equation before. Y equals mx plus b. And this one we're going to solve for m. Okay, so we're going to solve this equation for m. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at this equation and we're going to say, okay, if I wanted to get this m by itself, what am I going to need to get rid of? Well, I'm going to need to get rid of the x and the b. So I say, okay, well, which one would I get rid of first? Remember, we're working backwards through PEMDAS. So I say, okay, well, the addition or subtraction would need to go first. So I noticed that b is being added. So I would need to subtract a b from both sides. So I have y minus b equals m times x. Okay. We're still trying to get rid of that x now because m is what we want by itself. So to get rid of that x, it's being multiplied by m. So I would divide. I'm going to divide each one. So I'm going to end up with y divided by x minus b divided by x equals m. I go back and I say, oh, I was solving for m. M is now by itself. So we've got our solution. Remember, on a literal equation, in the end, it will look like another formula. I'm not getting a single number answer.